We have to talk some more about Jeffrey Epstein, of course, because how could we not talk about it? There was a bunch of stuff that happened over the weekend and early this week. We're going to touch on that. And there's some stuff going on in Hong Kong. Maybe we should be concerned. Oh, and the Dow dropped 800 points today. All of that and more coming up on the Right Wing Vegan. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Right Wing Vegan. I'm Scott.
And I'm Kelly.
And again, the news doesn't let up on us. It doesn't relent in its happenings. There's so much going on, and it's funny is I always put together like I always have an idea of like, oh, next week we're going to talk about this. Next week we're going to talk about that. Next week we're going to talk about 100 different things, and there's always something that comes up, and there's always some new news that just hits me hard, and it just throws away all of the stuff we're going to talk about the week before.
Well, it's because the news is ever evolving and changing, and
it never sleeps.
No, never
ceases.
News
never sleeps, and because of the 24-hour news cycle, we can be guaranteed that we are going to have something to talk about. Really, honestly. Go ahead and, Kelly, why don't you tell everybody the plugs? Why don't you
time for the plugs.
Hit the plugs. Hit them up.
All
Plug
right,
those holes.
What? You can follow us on Twitter at Vegan Wing. You can find us on the internet at rightwingvegan.com.
Nope. You did it wrong.
Sorry.
You
Whoops.
did it wrong.
Scratch that.
You did it wrong.
It's RW Vegan.
Don't go to rightwingvegan.com.
This is what you get for making me do the plugs.
You're yelling in my ear. That's not...
I'm sorry.
We need a new setup.
Okay. The internet. Find us at rwvegan.com, and you can email us at rwvegan@gmail.com.
I think you did the other ones right, but I zoned out, so I honestly don't know. Like, you could have given the wrong Twitter. What did you say our Twitter was?
How did you just zone out like that?
I just zoned out. My mind went somewhere else. I started thinking about how we need different microphones.
Oh, geez. Yeah, but
I hate the setup
I
so
said
much.
our Twitter was at Vegan Wing.
That's right. I haven't tweeted in a while.
I know.
I'm taking a break.
You tend to hate most things, though. You hate the setup. You hate our house.
You
hate this.
No, here's the thing. I don't hate most things, okay? But most things are very inconvenient, all right? So we operate right now on a shoestring budget because we don't make any money off of this podcast. So we have one mic, and it's sitting in between us, and we have to like lean in, and we have to talk in an appropriate volume. So it's like we're yelling at each other. It's like we're in each other's face, and we're just yelling at each other. And it's starting to hurt.
It's like having a civil argument.
It's like, for some reason right now, it's just like in my ear, and it just hurts. I don't like it.
Well, I'm sorry. So, I'll try and tone it down a little bit.
No, you don't have to. It's not you. It's our setup. That's the problem. I'm not mad at you. You have to talk in appropriate volume. It's our setup. It's the way we have things set up. So I'm about to spend a bunch of money, and we're going to fix this problem because I can't.
Let's not.
No, I can't. I can't do this. We've got to do it. So we're going to do that. I need to lean back in my chair. My back hurts. I can't sit this close to the mic.
Scoot forward.
No, because then these things don't... No one wants to hear about this. Anyways, I have a lot of complaints with the setup here. I also have a lot of complaints with just the general layout of our house. Because when I try and work out, I need a lot of space, and I don't have it. Also, we live in the country, and there are critters, and there's... Like, the whole yard is flooded, and when it's not flooded, it's, like, sinking because it was flooded. So, like, we have, like, weird crevices in our yard that we never had before. Our farmers are stealing our land. What else? We live next to farmers, and they keep creeping into our land.
I just want you to be happy with one thing in your life. Just one thing.
I'm happy about something.
Yeah, you have to think about it. You don't even know. I just want a happy husband.
Well,
that's all I want.
No promises. All right,
okay.
So let's move. I'm kidding. I'm a happy guy. All right, no joke. I just had to edit, but we had we were in the middle of talking, and a video of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just started randomly playing on the computer. It was pretty frightening.
It was.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, "Where's this voice coming from?"
We were just looking at it. I'm just like, "What the hell is that?" So that was fun.
Yeah.
How haunting. Anyways, So, now that we've established that I'm an unhappy guy, let's talk about stuff.
Yeah, let's go.
Talk about the news. Let's talk about the haps. I'm not an unhappy guy, by the way. I'm actually very happy. I'm very content. I just am grumpy sometimes, which I think anyone at my age is probably just naturally grumpy sometimes.
What, the tender, ripe old age of 33?
34 in a few days.
Well, currently you're 33.
34. I mean, yeah, I'm 33, but I might as well be. It's a couple days. Like, it's not like
Well,
a
fair
month.
enough, fair enough.
You know, it's a couple days. So, whatever. We'll see. Anyways, yeah, so there's a lot that I want to talk about this week. And honestly, I don't even know where to start. And that's why our intro was kind of frazzled this week. Because I was just like, yeah, a bunch of stuff happened. Because that's the reality. Is like a bunch of stuff happened and is happening. And I kind of want to talk about a lot of it. So you're going to get a potpourri this week of like things that have happened and things I want to touch on.
I'd say just pick one and go for it.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. And I want to apologize to everyone because we did say in our weekend update that we were going to talk about the Clinton conspiracy. And out of fear of my life, I'm not going to talk about the Clinton conspiracy.
You afraid they're going to come kill you?
I've been afraid all day. I started talking about it at work this morning, and I got a little nervous. And then the fire alarm started making a weird noise. And so I thought, oh my gosh, they're listening to me. So I had to stop talking about it at work.
Aww.
And then I'm afraid that I'm going to turn the corner and Chelsea Clinton's going to be standing there with a mask on or something.
She's going to come find us?
I don't know. I'm terrified. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that maybe I know something that I don't even know that I know, and they're going to get me. Because it seems like if you know something, you're going to get got. Yeah. And I don't want to get got.
Well, let's not have you get got. I want to keep you alive.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? So anyways, we're not going to talk about it. But here's what I encourage you to do. I encourage you to Google Clinton body count. That's what I encourage you to do. You Google that, you read. There's a lot of names on that list. It's like almost hard to sift through all the conspiracy and stuff like that. So just Google that on your free time. Maybe we'll talk about it when the heat's a little off. But the heat's on right now, okay? So, but what we do need to talk about, semi-related to the Clinton conspiracy, the Clinton body count, is Jeffrey Epstein. And so I'm going to ask you, Kelly, I'm going to start the conversation off with a question. Would you consider yourself to be a conspiracy theorist?
It depends on the conspiracy. Like, I'm not a 9/11 conspiracist or anything like that. But I definitely believe that strange things can happen.
Yeah. What do you think of, like, JFK? Do you think that was a lone gunman? Or do you think there was a little bit more to that?
I don't know. I've watched a lot about that. Read a lot about it. It could, I don't know.
I think it was multiple gunmen.
I think it was too. There's just no way they could have pulled that off with one person. I don't think so.
No.
No, not when you like see the analysis of where all the different shots were, like the angle that the shots came in. There's no way that was one person.
What do you think of? What do you think of Martin Luther King? Like, around the circumstances around his death? Or what about, like, Princess Diana? Like, do you believe all of those conspiracies, or do you believe that they're kind of as they were reported?
I think it kind of depends on the situation, but I definitely think Princess Diana was a conspiracy.
So you do believe that Diana was a conspiracy?
Yeah, I mean, just the chances of getting into a car accident that bad at that time... I don't know.
Well, there's a lot going on behind it, right? And I think that's why a lot of people think it was a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it's because she was different. She wasn't like all the other royals. She was completely different. So I can see why they would want to silence her.
Well, yeah. There's a lot there. There's a lot that could be potentially damning in that one. But let me ask you another one. One more. Do you think that we landed on the moon?
Absolutely.
You really think? Okay, I do too. I don't know that I believe that it was fake. I mean, like, you could convince me that it was fake, honestly. Like, if you could show me tangible evidence that may even lead to, like, we faked it.
Okay, but here, have they actually recreated the situation on the moon? Have they actually attempted to recreate it?
No, I don't know what they do when they go
Well,
there.
Until they recreate it, I don't know what to believe. Because I don't know what it's like on the moon.
No, I don't know... I don't know what they do when they go up there, honestly.
But I know that I definitely believe that they went. I have no doubt that they went.
I think at some point in time we have been to the moon. I just don't know if the first moon landing we really landed on the moon. Like, it's possible. You could convince me, especially with the way that, like, tensions were high with Russia. Like, you could convince me that we faked it just to say we beat them.
No, I think they did it. I think they did.
There's a lot of weirdness there, too. But, I mean, I do believe it. What about dinosaurs? Do you think those are real?
I don't know. That's the whole evolution.
It is a little weird, isn't it, to think that, like, giant creatures were walking around and flying. You know what I mean? Like, just, I've seen stuff with dinosaurs in it.
Can you imagine, like, nothing where we're currently at and just dinosaurs walking around?
No, that's what makes it hard for me to believe is, no, I cannot imagine that was ever real.
Barren landscapes.
Yes.
Pterodactyls.
I mean, like, I could see where birds look like dinosaurs. Like, it does, like, what we know of a dinosaur, or what we're told dinosaurs look like, when I look at a bird, I can see the resemblances a little bit.
Well, yeah.
And lizards and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just really difficult to believe that these giant monstrosities
became
in
tiny
some
little
cases
birds.
Were walking. Yeah, that's
tiny,
a little hard.
tiny
Like,
little
evolution
lizards.
is like whatever, you know, but like that's a little hard for me to believe.
Yeah, it's almost like a de-evolution to go from something so big to something so small.
They had to shrink because of the Earth.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't whatever. Know. I'm not. This isn't science class. Okay. Anyways, the reason that I asked you that was because. So you've kind of established yourself as like, maybe you could be convinced that some things are a little weird. Okay? Let me ask you this. With all of the stuff that's going on with Jeffrey Epstein, do you even need convincing that this is like, there's some shadiness behind this?
I definitely believe that there's shadiness, but I am not an expert at all. I have not looked in on the Clinton scandal or
let's say you don't. Let's say you don't know about any of that, okay?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you think that he killed himself?
I don't think he did.
Okay, so then you do believe that it's a conspiracy and there's a little bit of weirdness behind it.
It's too fishy. No camera evidence. The guards weren't paying attention. Like, you're in federal prison.
Even the biggest skeptic in the world, I think, looks at this and goes, all right, something's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no sane person can look at this and go, yeah, he killed himself. It was just suicide. That's all it was.
Yeah.
There's too many coincidences. Like, they could convince me, like, oh, the guards were asleep.
Well, and
the guards screwed up.
The thing is I've worked in a jail capacity before. There are cameras all over the place.
The cameras were disabled.
No, okay, so no jail, no prison would have inmates in an area where they had no camera access. That doesn't make any sense.
Especially such a high profile.
A high profile person.
Wow.
I'm stuttering there. Sorry.
You drunk?
No, I don't drink. You have a high profile person in custody that's not only a danger. It's dangerous all around for there to not be camera footage.
I mean, this is like the highest profile person.
Yeah.
And
to have no cameras?
No cameras. So the cameras were turned off. He was left alone for 4 hours. They were supposed to check in on him every 30 minutes. He was left alone for 4 hours.
Well, that was while he was on suicide watch.
His room cellmate was moved. Okay. Yeah. He was taken off of suicide watch at the request of his attorneys. Mm-hmm. Okay. He spent 12 hours a day with his attorneys. Rumor has it. Okay. He hung himself with a bed sheet, which he tried to hang himself with a bed sheet before. So why he had a bed sheet is even of question.
Well, because he got taken off suicide watch, so they gave him his bed sheet back.
Why did they take him off suicide watch?
Because they deemed he wasn't a threat to himself.
This is stupid.
I know.
This is okay.
I know.
Look,
that's just how the jail and prisons work.
He was arrested before.
Yes.
On the same charges.
Yes.
Okay, in Florida.
Isn't that double jeopardy?
No, because I think it was different.
Okay.
Different people. Back in like 2012 or 14 or whenever the hell it was.
Okay.
All right. He didn't try to commit suicide then. He knew that he was protected. He knew. And then Mueller or whatever told Acosta that he's an informant and not to do anything with him. Mm-hmm. That he's above his pay grade. Just let it go. Mm-hmm. So they gave him a sweetheart deal. And he was out on work release for like 12 hours a day and whatever. He only got like 14 months or something.
Okay.
But like the whole situation in and of itself is like maybe the craziest thing that's ever happened in real life ever. Like,
No,
like literally,
absolutely...
like this whole situation is probably the craziest thing that's ever happened in real life, ever. Like, think about it.
No, I'll definitely give you that. I will give you that.
He's a billionaire. No one knows where he got his money. Okay? No one. We know that Les Wexner is one of his clients.
But what does he do?
He's a financier.
Okay.
He's a money guy.
So that's where he got his money. From other people.
But we don't know that. We can't confirm any of his clients. How did he become a financier? He didn't major in that. He didn't go to school for that. He just randomly becomes a financier. And then all of a sudden he's a billionaire. And no one really knows, like, And then he gets this giant mansion. There's like tons of money. Mm-hmm. Okay? He has sex parties. He starts trafficking underage people. He's got some woman that's like his handler. She's like the pimp of all these girls. She like goes and gets these girls from. She's missing, by the way. And all of a sudden, like, he runs an island, Pedophilia Island. That's a real thing. Pedophilia Island is a real thing in real life. How is that a real thing in real life?
Is it actually called Pedophilia
Yes.
Island?
He owned an island, and he had a temple, and his goal in life, apparently, was to inseminate all these women so that he could create an army of children so he could populate the earth with his seed. So I'm not lying. This is all, like, what he was doing.
So, like, fundamental Mormonism?
He had a rape island.
Yeah, he did.
That's a real thing, is a rape island.
I know, it's a real thing.
How
get that.
in the world, in 2019, is a rape island with kids a real thing?
Well, did you watch the movie Mule, right? This old guy just finds himself into drug trafficking and he makes all this money.
Fake, right?
But no, it's based off a real story.
Based.
He did it. The guy's in prison or was in prison.
Nowhere near as crazy.
Yeah, but still, what if he found himself involved in this sex trafficking ring? So he gets all these girls. He gets paid for having some sort of part in bringing these girls over from wherever they came from. He gets paid off by this handler, and he's making his money.
Do you know this guy's connected to the royal family? Okay, in England. All right, this guy's connected to Russia. This guy's connected to Trump, even though that's murky because a lot of reports say that Trump, when he found out that like he was kind of a pervert, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Uh-huh. And even one of the women who supposedly he was flirting with said, like, no, Donald Trump never flirted with me. He was never, like, whenever he hung out with Epstein, he never flirted with anybody. He didn't know.
Good for Trump.
Like, yeah, this is actually one where the media tried so hard to stick Trump with
and they
this,
just can't.
And they can't. Like,
I read two stories about it today, and Trump's name wasn't mentioned at all.
They can't. They're off this one. However, Bill Clinton, very connected to all this. So.
And Les Wexner.
Les Wexner paid for, like, he stayed at, like, Wexner's house or a property Wexner owned. It's more than possible he had underage girls at that property.
Okay, so then how did all this happen?
That's what I'm saying.
The royal families to Les Wexner to Trump and Clinton, like, this is
Saudi Arabia, I forgot, the prince. Saudi Arabia, yeah. He's connected to all of these people. He has a special passport to Saudi Arabia. This guy is connected to everybody.
Wait, how is that possible? I don't understand this guy.
Because here's what I think happened. All right? And I could be wrong about this. I think this guy was trafficking. This is all opinion, okay? Yes. So no one sue me. I think that this guy was trafficking women and providing women to these people.
Yes. That's what I said. He was getting money by trafficking women.
This other woman who was, like, working for him, okay, or working with him, she was also really highly connected to a lot of people. But I think that, like, she would get the girls and bring them in. She even got a helicopter license so that they could helicopter these girls in so that they wouldn't have to be on a plane, so they wouldn't have to be on, like, a itinerary or whatever.
Yeah, like a boarding pass.
Yeah, and so that he could probably go pick up famous people and take them to his rape island.
Yeah, he's like a smuggler,
he had a
trafficker.
Rape island.
Yeah, that's
he's like
insane.
This guy's like a super villain. He's like a Bond villain. And he had, like, a rape island.
So how much of this was known when he first got arrested for this?
I don't know. They knew that he had messed with underage girls.
But did they know about the island?
I don't know if they knew about the island.
So maybe
they knew about his mansion because they raided it back then.
Is the mansion on the island?
No.
The
mansion's
so different.
in like New York. Is in Manhattan.
Okay, so it's possible that they may not have known at that point in time, and maybe that's why he killed himself this time?
No.
Because he knew he was screwed?
No, this guy kept meticulous notes. This guy kept records. He had, so they found, so he had like a safe, and in the safe he had like precious gems. That's what they described them as. They didn't say diamonds, but they said precious gems.
Okay.
But he also had tapes of everything. So his rape island, his temple, he had tape recorders everywhere. The whole island was rigged up to be recorded.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they think that he's got all of this evidence. Not just like, oh, I can give you a list of people who's there. I can give you videotapes. I can give you documents. I can give you all kinds of stuff. Because apparently that the Maxwell, who's his like woman that was hooking him up or doing his biddings or his henchmen or whatever. Yeah. Okay. She said that the island was all rigged up.
Okay, well, I will say, for a guy as smart, I guess you can say, as he was, for putting all of this stuff together.
Yeah.
Okay, as evil villain as he was.
He's an evil villain.
Why in the world would you record everything? Because that is self-incriminating there.
No. That is evidence.
Yes, but why
Blackmail. Where did he get all of his money?
Oh, it's making sense now.
You have to follow the money.
Yeah, so he can say, "Hey,
Saudi prince."
So let's just say Saudi prince goes to island.
Yeah.
He goes to leave. Epstein comes up to him and says, "Hey, just so you know, it's all on video.
Yeah.
Fork over the cash."
So inmates heard shrieking coming from his cell the night that he killed himself. Let me ask you a question. I've never tried to kill myself before. Okay, I've never tried to kill myself. But I think if I were trying to kill myself, I wouldn't be screaming.
No, I feel like I would be as calm as possible.
Especially if I'm hanging myself. You typically don't make a lot of noise because what happens, I believe, is you break your neck.
Depending on how you do it, but since he was in a cell with a bed sheet, he probably could only do it off of his bed.
But he's not going to be screaming.
No.
If anything, he'll be choking.
He'll probably be holding his breath on top of it.
Screaming. They heard screaming. One inmate said, "No, I didn't hear anything." But he was like a former cop that has ties to like, whatever. Like, it's all so...
Because jailhouse informants themselves aren't very reliable.
A new report came out today that the records had been messed with.
What records?
Like visitation records and stuff like that.
What kind of jail or what kind of prison are they running? So this is a federal...
No, this is a big prison. This is a...
Yes, it's a federal prison.
Like they're holding Manafort there. That they've held like some really high profile
okay, and you're telling me that this high profile...
jail or whatever
prison, federal prison, okay, doesn't have working cameras, doesn't have good visitation records, doesn't have enough staff.
No, that's
Are
the
you
thing.
kidding me?
It does. The thing is, it does, and all of this
I
stuff
know, but that's what they're
with.
trying to make us believe. I don't believe any of that. If the local jail can have cameras covering every inch of it, can have staff, overstaffed...
Oh, no. Here's what it is. The prison guards in charge of monitoring him on the morning that he committed suicide, they fell asleep, they didn't check on him for hours, and they falsified prison records to hide their actions. And not only that, but they both fell asleep at the same time.
Yeah, if one of you starts to fall asleep, you kick the other one awake.
This is outrageous.
Plus, it's not like they're not sitting there watching TV at the same time. Like, they can stay awake, play cards, do whatever, check on the inmates.
All I'm saying is, there's no way that there isn't... This is not... Listen. He's the last person to know he committed suicide. Like, he'd be the most surprised. I committed suicide because he didn't.
No, he was
Think
murdered.
about the list of people. I'm going to give you another thing here in a minute. But think about the list of people who would want this guy dead and the power that they have. Some of them having been accused of killing people in the past. For instance, the Saudis.
Yeah.
Okay? They beheaded that journalist. They said they didn't. But they beheaded that. They had that journalist beheaded. Or whatever. And then... You've got the Clintons. You've got the royal family, which you just said that there was a little shadiness behind Diana's death.
Yeah.
Okay? We know they'll go to great lengths to protect their image and their...
Well, I'm surprised they didn't kill Meghan Markle, so...
they're not going to kill Meghan Markle. She's too high profile. I guess Diana was too.
Yeah, what do you think Diana was?
That's
she already was a royal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are so many people that would have wanted this guy dead. I mean, who knows who else he was connected to? That's what I'm saying. Like, all of these wealthy people, and this guy just suddenly turns up dead, like the day after all these documents were released and unsealed. And
I think I'll go with the Saudis. That's my bet.
No, I don't think it was the Saudis. I don't know who it was. What I do know is that this is not like... And here's the thing. They have a lot of this evidence, I think. I think a lot of people are still going to go down for this.
Yeah. I mean, if they have video evidence of all of that, this could crumble every world power. The United Kingdom down.
Do you think, by the way, this is inappropriate, but I don't care. It's my podcast. Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein kind of looks like Anthony Bourdain?
A little bit, yeah, I'll give you that.
He killed himself too, didn't he?
Oh, he did, didn't
Maybe
he?
it's something about the face. Okay, hold on.
No, I don't think so.
So, here's another thing. New report, okay? Today. Just released. Today. New report. A beautiful report. This report says there is... This report says there is a sexual picture...
In quotations.
...of Bill Clinton in Jeffrey Epstein's mansion.
Oh my gosh.
He had a sexual picture of Bill Clinton hanging in his mansion.
Wait, sexual what?
All right, here's the...
Oh no! Okay, so we're reading this article.
Right,
this is bad.
This is from the Daily Wire. Okay, here's the picture depicting the former president apparently lounging on a chair in the Oval Office, wearing red heels and posing suggestively in a blue dress. That was kind of similar to the one Monica Lewinsky was in the room wearing or whatever. What?
Oh my gosh.
And it's not a painting. Oh, it is a painting.
The painting was secretly snapped inside the pedophilia's lavish $56 million home.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, and a woman provided the photograph.
So a photograph of this?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, there it is.
Oh my gosh.
That's not a painting.
No, so it's is it a painting of a picture?
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know. I'm looking at the picture. You should go to the Daily Wire and
look this up.
Wow. Oh no, Bill.
It's a good thing his wife isn't running right now.
Yeah.
She'd be done.
Wow. Okay, well, then there's that. So, I mean, I don't know. Look, more and more news is going to come out of this, and I can't wait because it's so crazy to me that this is a real life thing. Like, I still just cannot believe that this is reality, that this man had a pedophile island. I find it incredibly fascinating, like, to a level that I just can't even explain into words. Like, this is the type of stuff that happens in movies, but no, this was happening in real life.
Wait, so are you telling me that this guy bought an island and legitimately named it Pedophilia Island and nobody questioned this?
I don't know if he called it Pedophile Island in, like, amongst people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I will say is that Dr. Michael Baden apparently is looking at the autopsy, which is really interesting because he also was involved in the JFK autopsy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's going to add more to people's thoughts of a conspiracy theory. He also was involved in the MLK autopsy.
Wait, how old is this? How old is
Michael
this doctor?
Baden, he's 85.
Jeez.
He used to host HBO series Autopsy, which I was a huge fan of back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And he's a very high-profile pathologist. So, we'll see. He testified for Phil Spector in the first murder trial in 2003. He's been in a lot of cases. Okay, he was involved in the O.J. Simpson case.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Baden is a very high-profile pathologist, so he'll be doing something. I don't know. I don't think he'll be doing that.
He looks cute.
Okay.
He's like an old grumpy man.
He's an old man. I don't think that is he doing the actual autopsy?
That's what you said. He was a
he observed the autopsy.
I was going to say, his hands are probably a little too shaky for that.
Okay. Well, either way, So this Epstein stuff is going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, okay?
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's pretty interesting, though. All right, so where do we go next? Let's talk about China and Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is fighting for its democracy right now.
Yeah, to maintain its separation from China.
And to be honest with you, this is a pretty interesting situation because I think it's going to get pretty rough.
It already is.
No, I think it's going to get rougher. Like, I think you're going to have a lot of people slaughtered.
Oh, I know. Like, China is going to go in there and just wipe them all out.
The military's moved in, okay? And I worry about these people. I understand why they want to keep their democracy. I understand why they want to keep their sovereignty. Well, I don't know if they weren't sovereign, right? They were just more of
they were part of the British colony, and it was part of the deal between Britain and China to give China back control of Hong Kong, or to allow Hong Kong to become a part of China again instead of its own separate entity. But there was this deal that was worked out that was supposed to last like 20 years or something like that, where it would give Hong Kong time to be its own, I guess you could say, nation with its own laws and own currency and own everything before it became a part of China again. And it was supposed to be like this smooth plan to just help Hong Kong basically assimilate back into traditional Chinese customs or whatever. And Hong Kong obviously wants no part of it. They want nothing to do with it because they're a thriving democracy. They have they have their own currency, they have their own imports and exports and wealthy people. They have everything. Like, they are a legitimate, I guess you could say, country, even though it's a city. They're full functioning, just perfect. And then you have China. So I know why Hong Kong is fighting against this. I wouldn't want it either. And China just doesn't care. They're just going to come in and slaughter everybody.
This is going to get pretty bad fast.
Yeah.
And I really hope that, it's interesting because the people in Hong Kong, they apparently there were reports that they're holding up pro-American signs. And they're even holding up signs that say they wish they had the Second Amendment.
Yes, because they're literally being taken over by the government.
Yeah, government.
What? Stop making fun of me.
Yeah,
and that's why you have the Second Amendment, is to protect yourself from China.
Well,
from your government.
Specifically from China.
From your government. From the tyranny of a government.
Yeah, the Second Amendment is one of the, they're all important. All the amendments are important, and we should work to protect all of them. The Second Amendment is under a very, very strong attack right now. I think I'm mulling this over. On the way to work today, I was listening to another podcast I listened to. It's called Triggered. It's a pretty good one. But anyways, I was listening to it, and they were talking about gun control and stuff like that. And then I listened to another podcast, which is, what's that podcast called? Why can't I freaking remember it? It's one of my favorite ones. Blunt Force Truth.
Okay, there you go.
Chuck Woolery does it. It's a really good podcast. I was listening to that, and they were talking about gun control too. And this inspired me as I was driving into work this morning. And I was like, I really want to talk about gun control. I think we're going to talk a lot about the Second Amendment and gun control and what they're kind of doing tonight. And then I pivoted off of that when I started reading the news, and I'm like, oh, there's like 500 other things I want to talk about. So what I'd like to do, and you can say let's not do it. But this weekend, maybe, as part of the weekend update, maybe we'll do a special kind of thing where we talk about the Second Amendment and gun control and how the left is kind of like, they're using, these shootings that just occurred to like push these laws that just, they're not going to work. They're not going to work. I firmly believe that these laws will not prevent shootings. Mm-mm. Because there's a lot of laws on the book right now, and they're just not enforced. But even if they were enforced, like, it goes to show you that those laws don't protect people. So the Dayton shooter, okay, he purchased his gun in a straw purchase. I think I heard this.
Somebody else purchased it for him.
So the thing is that those laws wouldn't have. that's against the law.
No,
already.
And I feel bad for this guy. I mean, granted, he broke the law in buying the weapons for somebody else, like knowing that he wasn't going to keep them himself. But he also, the police are saying he had no knowledge of what the Dayton shooter was planning on doing with these weapons.
Right, but
and I feel bad because now he's like caught in the middle of this, and now he feels responsible for all of this. And
are you sure he didn't know? Didn't he hide the weapons from the kid's mom? Maybe that's El Paso.
No, yeah, he bought the weapons because I think the kid still lived at home or something like that.
I don't know.
And he didn't want his mom to know that he had purchased those weapons. So that's why his friend had purchased them and was holding on to them for him.
Whatever you believe.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what the news report said earlier.
Yeah, the guy also bought him body armor. I feel...
I don't know about the body armor
about
part.
that. Anyways,
all I know is about the guns.
Whatever. The point is... Why'd you just raise your hands up like that?
Because
why? The point is that there were already laws in place. What happened was illegal.
Yes.
And these
It still happened.
And guess what? It still happened.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is that laws are only as good as the people who follow them.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to get into it right now because I could spend an hour talking about this. But let me ask you this, okay? Is it legal to use heroin?
No.
Is it legal to drink and drive?
No.
Is it legal to punch someone in the face?
Nope.
Is it legal to smoke marijuana in many states?
Depending on where you live, but no.
No. Was it legal to smoke marijuana 10 years ago?
Yes. Or legal or illegal?
Was it legal?
Legal, no. I thought you said
how
illegal.
many people do you know that was smoking weed 10 years ago?
Not a lot.
Okay, not you. A normal person would know a lot of people. Another thing, how many people die from a DUI every year?
A lot.
More than are killed by an assault rifle.
Yeah.
I can tell you that for sure with 100% certainty. Define to me, because the left can't seem to do it, what is an assault weapon?
I don't even know.
I don't either, and I don't think they know.
No.
So when we ban assault weapons, what are we really banning?
It's like a blanket ban on guns.
That's right.
That's what it is,
isn't it? And some of the candidates want them to come in and get your guns, and if you won't, it's buybacks, so that's what they'll call it, a buyback.
Ooh, they're going to give me my money back?
But if you don't turn in your guns, you can be arrested. You can be charged with a crime.
But it's my Second Amendment right to have
They don't care about any of that. They want to get rid of that.
Do they?
And they're trying to trick people into doing it through these mass shootings.
Question.
Yes.
Second Amendment right. Okay. Do they really think that they can come in and steal your weapons from you, charge you, and not have this whole thing get overturned by the Supreme Court? It's in the Constitution.
Yes, it is in the Constitution. The idea would be amending the Constitution.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's
not that easy to amend the Constitution.
No, it's not. It's easy to pass laws, though. Well, it's not easy, but okay. So we're going to get into it. So there's a lot of momentum behind universal background checks. Okay?
Okay.
Universal background checks now eliminates you selling a gun or giving a gun. Forget selling a son. Let's say you want to pass down an old gun. You own a gun and you want to pass it down to your son.
Yeah.
Well, that's gone. Now you have to get a background check before you can do that. Like, your son needs a background check. That's what they mean by universal background checks. They mean in any situation a background check is required. Even if I want to give you a gun, you're my wife, I want to give you a gun, there has to be a background check. I can know, and we have to go to a place that's allowed to do that.
No, I mean, it should be the person who legally purchases said weapon.
So, like, if I buy a gun online, right, I have to pick it up at a place so that they can run a background check on
so
me.
do they legitimately think that all of these criminals running amok with stolen firearms
That's the thing.
are actually going to get in background checks?
No.
Most of them are disqualified from owning firearms in the first place. That's why they steal them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Theft is a crime, right?
Yes.
And these people are stealing guns.
Yes.
So that's the whole point.
So they're not going to go and get a background check.
Yes, but they want to do that because
so they're taking the weapons from the people that can legally purchase them.
Yes.
And allowing the criminals who, on paper, don't have a weapon.
Yes.
To keep it because the government has no idea.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Elizabeth Warren today released her idea that we need to start taxing guns at like 30%, and we should tax bullets at like 50%. And she thinks that'll stop it.
Did it stop smoking?
Do you know what that does? That takes guns out of the hands of people who live in the worst communities. All that does is allow the wealthy people to own guns, and the poor people don't.
Completely against their party ideals.
No, their party ideals are protect the liberal elite at all
Yeah, that's
costs.
true. Even though they're pretending to be after the poor
Absolutely,
communities.
they absolutely pretend to. They absolutely, and I'm weary of any politician who wants to completely disarm me.
Yeah. Because anyone who wants to take away my Second Amendment right, no.
The Second Amendment right is there to protect us and to protect all of the other rights from being infringed upon. Okay? You take the Second Amendment away, now I have no protection to protect the First Amendment.
You become Hong Kong.
You become Hong Kong. You become, yes, the oppressed. They love talking about the oppressed. They love it because victims are their speciality in the left, because everyone's a victim. Well, everyone except for white people, white men, white cisgender, just such a stupid word. White normal men.
I'm not even sure I know what cis means.
I don't
like straight?
I think so. White normal men are not victims, but everyone else is. So by taking away the Second Amendment right, they literally are making us oppressed, because the government now has the ability to oppress us completely.
Yeah.
Without us being able to fight back from tyranny. It also, people in rural I hate that word.
I do
People
too.
in rural communities who live far away from police stations, they now can't defend themselves if somebody's trying to break into their house. Even if you live close to a police station, it can take 30 minutes for a police officer to show up. So those, you've no way to protect yourself. The normal home invasion is usually 3 people. It's not one. It's never just one person trying to break into your house. It's usually 3. I think on average it's 3 people usually trying to break into your house. So with semi-automatic weapons, that's the best way to defend yourself, because if there are 3 targets coming at you, you don't have time to like click back the old, you know what I mean, and fire. You gotta pop, pop, pop. You gotta fire to take them out.
Yeah.
The other thing is semi-automatic is such a dirty word. Every pistol you've probably ever fired is semi-automatic. Any gun that you don't need to cock, that you don't need to... So like a shotgun, if I do a pump-action shotgun, that's not automatic or semi-automatic. But a pistol, like a Beretta, like those types of guns are semi-automatic.
So
because
like
you don't have to cock or reload every time. It's pop, 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 pop.
So like a police officer's standard issue gun is semi-automatic.
Yes, because any single fire gun that you don't have to stop and reload or stop and cock is semi-automatic, I believe.
Speaking of, did you know that there was a situation unfolding earlier today involving officers being shot?
No, where at?
No? Hold on.
All right, well, while you look that up, so that's the thing about guns. They're really coming after the Second Amendment, and I'm really worried about it. I've heard a lot about red flag laws, a lot about universal background checks, a lot about things that infringe on your Second Amendment constitutional right. We need to be very wary before we just say, you know what, go ahead and pass these laws, because the laws don't help. People are still going to do it, and mass shootings, they seem like an epidemic right now because the media is telling you it's an epidemic, but it's really pretty rare. I'm not going to lie. It really is, especially compared to some of the other ways that people die in this country, including heart disease. It's pretty rare for mass killings. And I'm going to tell you this, too. You don't see anybody going after McDonald's for serving all the fatties hamburgers that kill them, that give them heart attacks. You don't see the government going after alcohol because people are drinking and driving. We're not taking cars away from people. You know what I mean? It's just... Here's what an assault weapon is. It's a scary-looking gun. Any gun that looks kind of scary might be an assault weapon. So there's no clear definition of that. And I come and get my guns. Come and get them, because I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those situations where a lot of people are going to say, "You're not taking my gun, government. You're not doing it."
Yeah.
Anyways, tell me about this shooting.
Okay, so this is in North Philadelphia. It's in a city or neighborhood called Nicetown, of all town names. But I guess around 4:30 today, officers were trying to serve a warrant on this house. So those 2 officers that were trying to serve the warrant are now trapped inside this home. And 3 hours later, shots are still being fired with at least 6 police officers being injured.
What was that noise? Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this picked it up.
It probably did.
All right, well, we'll have to edit that out anyways.
So with at least 6 officers being injured, they're saying none of them are considered life-threatening at this point in time, but they did notify President Trump of the situation, of what was happening on these shootings. They're treating it like a hostage situation, trying to get these officers out of the house.
Wow.
Hopefully everyone comes out alive from the situation, but yeah, it's a scary situation.
Wow.
Gunmen opening fire on police officers.
In Philadelphia, of course.
In Philadelphia.
It's always the liberal cities, isn't it? It's always the cities run by Democrats where all this stuff happens, too. You know, if you ever think about that. I mean, I don't know if Dayton's run by Democrats, but what I mean is like Chicago, right? Democrats. What was the other city? Oh, Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
Run by Democrats. All the crap hole cities are run by Democrats. No offense to anyone who lives in Chicago or Baltimore, but if you live there, you probably know what I mean. Okay, so in other news, we'll get off the guns. Maybe we'll talk about that a little more this weekend and how that kind of works out. Maybe I'll do some research. I'm kind of bad at that. You know why I'm bad at that, though? Because Google makes it really hard to get fair information.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, how you have to go to like page 6 of the Google search results just to find something that is just straight news.
And even then, I have to validate the source.
Yeah.
Which is like tough. Why is it so tough to find just unbiased information?
Because it's barely non-existent.
It really, in today's world, it really is. And I really do believe all this stuff like about Google suppressing conservative thought, because it's so difficult to find. Not even
conservative thought. Didn't they say they were, Tulsi Gabbard said something about that, too, about Google?
She's suing them.
Yeah, for
she's suing them.
Hiding her stuff.
The other thing, too, there was like an article. Well, I'm going back to the guns. We'll talk about the guns over the weekend.
Okay.
We'll talk about the guns.
Let's do it.
Okay, because there was a Time magazine article, too. Anyways, everyone's pushing for gun control. Watch out. Don't fall for it. The stock market plummeted today, 800 points.
Why?
So the Dow fell 800 points. That's, by the way, 3.03% of its total value. Just so you know. That's
not too bad.
That's super bad.
Oh, is it?
That's super bad.
Okay.
That's like
Never
really,
mind.
really
I don't
bad.
understand how stocks work.
So why that happened is because there is a bond yield curve, okay? It like inverted. This is also like stocky, okay? It inverted, all right? The 10-year yield fell below the 2-year yield, and for the past 50 years, every time that happened, a recession happened within 2 years.
Oh.
So that happened today. And that made everybody freak out. And that's why the Dow dropped 800 points, because investors are paranoid that we're about to go into a recession.
So basically, if we're going to sell our house, we need to do it within the next year.
Maybe. The thing is that there are other indicators as well. And I think some of them are showing like maybe it could happen in 10 years. Others are like, we haven't missed. One of them is like the jobless rate, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't anywhere near where it would need to be to indicate a recession. But it's interesting. It's something to keep in mind, because I think Trump really needs a good economy to take into 2020 to win. I think he needs it. Like, absolutely needs it. Without a good economy, he has no, like, that's the one thing he can stand on right now, is how good the economy is and how good the unemployment rate is and all that stuff.
Yeah, so he needs that.
Yeah, if we dip into a recession, which one's coming, I mean, we're due, but if we dip into a recession before the race in 2020, that could be bad for Trump.
Yeah, it could be.
It really could. Some polls, by the way, are showing Elizabeth Warren is tying Joe Biden now, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
There's a few. So here's a piece of trash I want to talk about. So let me ask you something, Kelly. Have you ever heard of the Pan American Games?
No.
Of course not. So a member of the U.S. men's fencing team. Let's start there.
Ooh, fencing.
Let's just take
wealthy white kid.
Yeah, thank you. Let's take a pause. Okay. Who in the F fences?
That would be your private boarding school.
That would be someone whose dad probably has ties to Epstein. Like, that's
most likely, yeah.
A wealthy, privileged, white bread, white boy
Grew up on a yacht.
Yeah, right.
Sailboat in.
Yeah, that's what that is. Anyways, a member of the U.S. men's fencing team. So not only does this guy fence, but he's so good at fencing because mommy and daddy were able to pay for lessons for this little ginger boy to fence. So he was good enough to win a gold medal at whatever the Pan American Games are. Okay. So what he did at the Pan American Games when he won the gold medal was he decided, now's my time to take a stand. I'm taking a stand because the 15 people that watch whatever channel the Pan American Games are played on, I can't imagine it was more than 15 people who knew what that was and decided to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
He said, I'm taking a stand. So while the American national anthem played, this piece of crap decided, I'm going to take a knee in disrespect to the United States.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah, because he's so oppressed. He understands. Listen, by the way, his name is Race Imboden. That's his name.
What?
That's his name. Okay? If that name doesn't smell wealthy, rich, white, privileged little prick, I don't know what does.
Race Imboden.
Race Imboden.
Oh, jeez.
His teammates' names, Garrick Meinhardt and Nick Itkin. Nick is like the only normal name in that bunch, isn't it? They both stood because they have respect for the country that they represent.
Well, they also may not have known that he was kneeling because he's behind them in that picture.
you know the country that gave them the privilege of being able to compete in the Pan American Games.
Yeah.
The country that provided their parents with enough wealth so that they could pay for their little rich asses to take fencing classes in the first place.
But
you know
what,
that country?
You know what this is also doing, though? It's setting the stage for people to do this at bigger events, like the actual Olympics.
Oh, I'm not worried about it because I don't think anyone saw this. No one watches the Pan American Games.
No, but it still made the news.
People do this already. Colin Kaepernick got famous for doing it. An average quarterback got famous for doing this.
But that's the NFL. I'm talking world stage.
I don't think the Olympics get better ratings than the NFL. I think more people watch an NFL game than watch the Olympics.
You never know.
Definitely in this country, more people watch the NFL. There's like 40 million people who watch the NFL.
Okay. I look up the ratings to see how many people watch the Olympics.
I bet 1 million. I bet the Olympics do worse
1 million.
Yes.
You say they do worse than WWE?
Yes, I think Monday Night Raw outdraws the Olympics.
Nope, you're wrong.
Are you kidding me? Look up. I'm looking this up live. Olympics ratings US. My freaking
Not
internet.
Winter Olympics.
All
You
right,
gotta look at Summer Olympics.
Hold on. 19.8 million viewers. All right, you win. You win. That's still worse than the NFL, though.
Like NFL every single Sunday, or are you talking Super Bowl?
Well, let's look that up. Average rating of NFL Sunday game. Of course, they're going to make this hard.
No, 19.6.
19.
Fox averages 23.3, while CBS averages 19.6.
Which is more than the Olympics.
No.
What
the
was
Olympics
the
was
Olympic
19
number?
point what? Something.
19.8.
Okay, so they're tied.
So CBS's game is tied, but Fox's game draws more, and that's not even Sunday Night Football. That's just your basic 4 o'clock Sunday game. That's 23 point whatever million. And Colin Kaepernick is taking a knee.
The Olympics was right up there. Yeah. I think it's more of the fact that the Olympics is a world stage. You have people across the world watching those.
And you know what? I'm sure those people in Africa on their box television sets are probably like, how ungrateful for this white kid to be taking a knee during his... I would love to live in America.
Well, and if it's the Pan American Games, it's everyone in like Brazil and, and all those
I'm not sure
Honduras,
what the hell the
whatever.
Pan American Game is. Could you imagine the people in Mexico? All those people in Mexico they're traveling over such treacherous terrain to try and get into this country illegally. What do you think they feel about these people who are taking a knee? They're like, come live in our country where you get beheaded because the cartel decides they don't like you or they can't trust you, so they cut your head off and nobody does anything about it. Mm-hmm. You know? You get away with that if you're Jeffrey Epstein in this country, but you don't get away with it if you're some punk-ass person who's in MS-13 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, anyways, this little white rich kid decides, I'm going to take a knee. And let me see if I can find the quote that he said, because it's actually really hilarious. This little punk.
Right there. We must call for change.
Ray Simboden, wealthy, rich white boy, okay, who's so, he, look at this. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's Brazil and Canada.
Oh my gosh. The people from Brazil are saluting the national anthem of the United States of America. And can I censor myself?
Censor yourself.
I can't censor myself.
Yes, censor yourself.
I don't know how to do it.
Brazil is standing there.
This little bee, this little punk bee, is on his knee while Brazil is saluting our national anthem.
Yeah. Brazil is saluting it, and Canada is standing there respecting it.
Fencing. Are you kidding me? Play a real sport. Fencing's like so funny because it's like, oh, I learned how to use a sword in a way that would never benefit me in real life. Because if somebody were coming at me with a sword and I got into that little
fencing stance,
people would look at me like, what are you doing, you little F? You little pretty boy. Get out of your stance.
Let me poke you with the stick.
Anyways, listen. So this is his quote because this is hilarious. We must call for change. This week, I am honored, no you're not, to represent Team USA at the Pan Am Games, taking home gold and bronze. Okay, you braggy. My pride, however, has been cut short by the multiple shortcomings of the country I hold so dear to my heart. Racism, gun control, mistreatment of immigrants. Is that it? Oh, and a president who spreads hate are at the top of a long list of things that I hate about this country I love. He didn't say that. That was me. I choose to sacrifice my moment today. Sacrifice. That's a key word. My moment today at the top of the podium to call attention to issues that I believe need to be addressed. I encourage others to please use your platforms for empowerment and change. Listen to me, you little... I can't believe he has a check mark. How many people follow Racing Bowden on Twitter? Anyways, listen to me, you little punk. You didn't sacrifice anything.
No.
Okay.
You just wanted 5 seconds of fame.
Yeah. You basically took 5 minutes of fame so that you could take a knee in a sport that no one cares about, and you could brag. You could have your little moment where you feel so empowered and brave. You feel so prideful. You didn't do it because you care about brown people. You did it because you wanted to be selfish and you wanted your little moment, you punk.
And so
you
he
rich.
Could get on TV there.
Look at him. Now he's on CNN. Of course he's on CNN.
Have interviews.
What other network would put this piece of garbage on their network? CNN. Oh, and it's Don Lemon, too. Of course. Of course it is.
Gosh.
It's either going to be Fredo or Don Lemon, so of course it's Don Lemon. Hey, yeah. Don Lemon, by the way, a report came out today that a woman is saying he sexually harassed her, so Don Lemon's so woke, he touches women inappropriately. Anyways, so this Racing Bowden, this little ungrateful punk, maybe we should send him to another country to live, and he can see what racism looks like. Or the mistreatment of immigrants. And I can't tell. Okay, in his statement, he says racism, gun control, mistreatment of immigrants are at the top of a list of things he hates. So does he hate gun control? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it reads.
He's just an idiot. That's the answer. He's just a little white, rich, wealthy punk idiot. I wish one of these people from Brazil would have beat your ass. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that, but I don't want anybody to beat his ass. But you know what? The people who really sacrifice their for this country, you jackass, are the people who go fight wars for this country. People who lose limbs fighting wars. That's sacrifice. Yeah, you don't know anything about sacrifice. You've never had to sacrifice anything in your life. You freaking... Anyways.
Yeah.
Give me a break. I sacrificed my little moment. My little moment, so that the 15 people who were watching the Pan American Games saw me take a knee. I'm just like Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
No, you're not.
You think
you wish you were Colin Kaepernick, you piece of junk. You wish. You wish. Hope you enjoy being on Don Lemon, you jerk, because you're not going to be anywhere else. In 10 years, no one's even going to remember who you were. I'm standing up for all the oppression. What oppression? The freedom of speech that we grant you to take the knee? Is that the oppression you're talking about? Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so on fire about that.
I know. It doesn't make any sense
to me. I fence. Whatever, you freaking... Ugh. Anyways, here's another fun. So, students... Let me see where this is. George Washington University. Okay. A group of campus students have...
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, they're pushing a petition to ban the oppressive white stick figure that appears in walk signals.
I've always called that the little white guy.
So the little man, you know this. When you're crossing the street.
The red hand and the little white
The little
walk
man
guy.
walking. They say that's oppressive. That's oppressive.
Why is that oppressive?
Because it's not inclusive.
It is a traffic control device.
Are you kidding me?
It is in every single driver's ed class to look out for.
Your traffic control device is pushing his male, cisgender,
what do they want it to be?
Straight oppression right in my face.
What do they want it to say? Do they actually want it to say walk and stop?
I think I would like it to be a genderless entity.
I think that is pretty genderless.
I could argue that is a genderless entity.
It is a white figure. A figure that is painted all white.
You know what I find offensive? I find offensive that they think that men are so much better than women that they automatically just assume that's a man.
They do. They are making that assumption. That could easily be a woman.
That could be an alien.
It could be. I mean, it just kind of looks like an alien. I mean, nobody walks like that. So, actually, in all honesty, it looks like an old man with a cane in his hand.
To me, it looks like
the way he's crouched over.
A non-binary alien is what it looks like to me. Anyways, if this happens...
I don't understand what they want it to say instead. They want it to remove and replace.
Well, apparently this is the same group that voted to remove and replace the university's mascot, George the Colonel, because they said it was extremely offensive.
From George Washington?
Because it glorifies the act of systemic oppression.
What?
The measure was passed. 54% of students voted, which goes to show you that the majority of youth at George Washington University is mentally challenged.
Yeah.
That's what that says to me. Gosh. How many letters can we add to LGBTQA+?
Why is there an A and a plus sign now?
We ran out of letters.
What's the A? And the plus. Oh, is the plus for that thing like that gender is fluid and you can't define it?
I think
type
so.
Thing?
Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer.
Or questioning.
What's the, if you have two? You have both. Asexual.
No. Asexual is you have no sexual preference.
Oh, that's what the A means.
Okay. Oh, asexual. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know. I'm not woke enough to be up on my
either.
oppressed classes. I apologize.
Many of the students...
Whatever. Anyways, we're not going to read this online. Cause that's here you go. Here's your recommended...
samples.
Look at the fat person. One of them is a fat person.
Wait, I would be offended by that.
One of them is a man in a wheelchair. One of them is a red man. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. Isn't that offensive to Native Americans?
Yeah, because it's Native American or an Indian.
One of them appears to be a white woman. One of them is a rainbow-colored man, of course. One of them is a woman with, like... I'm not sure what the hell that is.
Red, white, and blue dress
And one
thing.
of them is a fat person.
Well, I could say that these other things are oppressive because that's a fat person. This could be oppressive. The handicap one could be oppressive to the handicap population. You have a woman up there, which, then the men aren't being included. And then you have a rainbow man.
Oh my god, we've gone too far.
Like, leave it for what it is. That is a not necessarily a universal sign, but it's a nationally recognized symbol for it's safe to walk across the street.
Look,
why change it?
We're an hour into this podcast right now. All right, maybe I'm just tired. I don't think I am, but can I ask you, like, the real question here? Mm-hmm. Who effing cares?
Nobody.
That's the question, isn't it?
Nobody cares.
Who effing cares?
I bet you if you did a little poll around here and you asked people, what does this sign mean to you? They would say, it means it's okay to walk across the road. They're not going to go like, some white guy is telling me to walk.
I can't believe.
That we've come to this? This is 2019.
This is why I like whenever somebody tells me that they're a Democrat, I just look at them with like this look in my face of like, how can you support this idiocy? And it used to be like the fringe would say this stuff and everyone would just kind of laugh at them and you'd know like, these are the people, whatever. But now it's like the presidential candidates support this. They all put their pronouns on their little Twitters. They all like, this is like what the left represents now. And I'm sorry, but like the people that I know who are Democrats, like they need to really, really think twice before they vote these idiots. Because like this stuff becomes law and we're focused on changing streets. Like we have all these things we could be focused on, all these important things that we could be talking about. There are real issues, honestly, that these kids could be focused on and trying to change. I'm sure there are real issues at their university that they could be focused on. But instead, they're offended by a traffic light. I also worry about these kids' chances of survival in the world if they're worried about a traffic light.
Yeah, if they're so focused on something that's so petty as the color of a light telling them to cross the road, they're not even going to be able to function in society. The first time they get offended at their adult job, they're going to need a safe space to go cry in about it.
They do. No, these kids are entering the workforce, and I can tell you as someone who works in that workforce, they are that way.
You know, I hate the fact that I am a part of this millennial population.
I'm on the cusp. I'm like right on the cusp.
And I'm like right there. I hate it. I cannot stand it because I am not one of those crybabies who needs a safe space. I am not at all.
Well,
and I hate the fact that everyone born within a certain number of years are classified as millennial. If anything, there should be a movement to separate the normal people from the millennials.
Well, that's why I think you and I would say, thrive in this world. And that's why I think some people don't.
Because we know what hard work is. We know what $1 is worth. We know all these things. And these kids are crying about a sign.
Crying about a sign.
Yes.
You know, I wonder if Rayson Bowden will take up that stance next.
He's going to use his national platform for that.
He'll probably talk about it with his parents on their yacht this weekend.
Like, oh my gosh, did you hear about these kids at George Washington University?
Gosh, I so know what oppression looks like. Oh, I'm out of mimosa. Can you go get me another one? He probably has slaves.
He probably does.
Hey, Jaquan, can you go get me another mimosa so that I can talk about how your people are so oppressed? They should really pay you $15 an hour as I pay you $12 an hour.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You know, Darwinism is going to knock these people out anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because most of them don't even want to... They're never getting married. They're never going to have kids.
No, they'll get married. Matter of fact, there is a guy... This is a news topic. We got to quit this podcast. We got to stop. It's like an hour and 6 minutes. But I will say this. There's a guy at my work who's taking his wife's last name. You know,
I have heard of that before, and I'm not... entirely against that.
If you have a good reason to do it,
yes.
then fine. If you don't, if you're just like...
If your last name is like douchebag, yes, of course I'm not going to take that name.
The reason he's
doing
change it. This guy wears suspenders to work every day.
Oh, okay.
All right, is that all you need to know?
Yeah, so he's probably baby millennial.
He sits at a table with other
suspender wearing kids.
Yes, mustache twirling.
Oh
suspender
God.
Wearing.
Wait, is he doing it so that his wife doesn't feel oppressed?
Like espresso drinking men. And like,
wait, the ones that have their pants rolled up so that 6 inches of their sock shows?
This one guy has his shorts rolled up every weekend.
Shorts?
Yes.
Wait, I see the guys walking around where I work with their pants rolled up to the middle of their calf with these like bright colored socks on. They look ridiculous.
Whatever.
Like, how do you work in a professional environment like that?
Shaking our fists at the damn kid on the lawn at this point. But anyways, that's what's entering the workforce right now. I guarantee that guy
what's
has a
his
safe space nearest. I don't know. I don't talk to him.
No,
I for sure don't talk to that table.
You should ask him. Say, hey, why are you changing your last
I'm not
name?
going anywhere near that table because I don't want to get into an argument about how feminist some movie is. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. I don't need I want to stay as far away from their safe space as I possibly can.
Okay. Well, pay attention to what his name changes to, and then we'll see if it makes sense.
All right. I did look him up. Well, for all I know, he listens to this podcast. But I did look him up, and he definitely is out kicking his coverage.
What?
Like, the girl he's marrying. Like, I don't know what she sees in this kid.
Yeah,
Anyways.
okay.
All right, so that's it. That's it for us, because we've gone an hour and 8 minutes, and we've had the air condition up in this room off, because it's loud and obnoxious, and it's hot. I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's a little warm.
All right, so we got to go. If you like this, give them the plugs again.
All right, you can follow us on Twitter at veganwing. You can email us at rwvegan@gmail.com, at gmail.com. I'm sorry, I'm trying, I'm working on this. And you can go to our website at rwvegan.com and find all of our awesome, cool stuff.
That's right. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a great week. We'll see you this weekend with the weekend update. We'll also have a little bit of a gun control conversation, unless something else comes up. But that's it. We will talk to you guys later.